So good evening, it's Renee Bird, and I'm here for another episode of the Who Am I Talk. I absolutely love doing this. I look forward to it every week to introduce you to some inspiring people, some amazing guests. I'm very, very excited to share with you a fantastic gentleman. Hello, Denise. Hello, everyone that's joining. Hello, Dr. Devine. So, my next guest this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is Dr. Devine. What an amazing name to have as a doctor. He's a leading aesthetics doctor. He's trained at the most amazing King's College Medical School, so the best. And he's gone to basically he mastered his skills in the most amazing, and I've met the lady herself, the Queen of Skin, and the Harley Street Skin Clinic. So he has absolutely an amazing repertoire. His background is phenomenal, and I'm so excited to finally get to have a chance to catch up with him, and talk through his journey. You know, how did he become a doctor, and what triggered him to do that? And obviously, aesthetics is a really big boom industry. So I'm really excited to hear how he did that. So I think he's asking to join. So really excited. Any minute now.
Hello, Renee.
Hey, hi Richard, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you so
Good, good,
much. Thank
good.
you so much. Finally, we get a chance to catch up.
Exactly, yeah.
You've been a
Thanks
really
so much for
busy.
having me on your show.
You're very welcome. It's an absolute pleasure. Like, as you know, this has been a platform for people to share their stories in various
Right,
industries, in the beauty industry, singer songwriters. I've had some amazing people on board, and
for
I
sure.
remember seeing you from one of my other guests, Queen of Skin, from Harley
Exactly,
Street,
yeah,
and I thought
yeah.
actually it'd be amazing to have him on. I've not met many doctors in your profession, so it's really exciting to have a conversation and just find out about your story. How did you get in? How did you become a doctor? What triggered
How did
you
I
to want
become
to
a
be a doctor?
doctor?
Mm.
What was it? We started already. Okay, off we go. So,
Well, first of
um,
all, before we even let's pull back a bit. How are you? How is your family? We're obviously being in COVID. Well, still in COVID-19. We're coming out slowly, but we're not under no bad impression that it's still there. So first,
yeah.
how is your family? That's really important to me.
Everyone's good, everyone's good, which is definitely a blessing. Because
Yeah,
obviously there's a lot of people struggling out there at the moment.
yeah,
But everyone's good. I'm very fortunate for that. I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. Um,
that's
Luckily, being a doctor, I've been working, so I haven't been
yeah,
out of a job.
yes,
So I've been keeping busy. Yeah, everything's
wonderful.
good. Everything's
That's
good.
good because I think it's really important. We're in a very unnerving season. I think we never
Of course.
envisaged what was going to happen. March hit. I know the date, 23rd of March, is when the whole of London shut down the UK.
I know. I
And
know.
I
I
never
know.
dreamt I would be a part of that experience ever.
I know. It's still surreal, isn't it, that we're still actually living it? And even now, it's quite difficult, to get your head around, because I think
Mm,
once everybody thought, okay, lockdown's going to end, everybody thought, okay, life's going to go back to normal. But actually, it's
yeah.
quite different, isn't it? Still.
No, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, as a doctor, you wear medical masks, so that's
Yeah.
something you've been used to. But walking around and seeing
Yeah.
people day in, day out, it's really surreal.
I know it's strange. It's very strange. It's very strange. But necessary. So
No, it
this is
is.
this is the time that we're living in, and I think humans are adaptable. They will change. They will get used to things. But definitely looking forward to the return of some normality,
Yeah,
because yeah, going out is a bit different now, isn't
it
it?
is. I mean, I haven't gone to a restaurant as yet. I've done a lot of take-ins and been with family, just been bubbling, very cautious because my a couple of my family members are vulnerable, so I'm very conscious of all the
Okay,
things that I do. But
sure.
what is that experience like? Is it like, do they have like the plastic visors, or what is it like
Yeah,
with this?
so I mean, so during COVID, I was actually working as a GP. So we were predominantly doing telephone consultations and only
Okay.
bringing people in if they really needed to come in.
Mm,
So when people came in, obviously we had to wear the full PPE, we wore the gown and the mask and everything. But
yes.
generally, because we were on the phone for the majority of the time, there wasn't really, the whole proper mask where it was
Yeah.
stuck to the face, and yeah, we didn't have to wear that all day like they did in the hospital.
Yeah.
So that was quite lucky for me. I was quite fortunate for that.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
still.
otherwise, sorry, go on.
No, after you, Richard.
But I'm saying, yeah, so yeah, otherwise, when I'm doing, so now when we've gone back to clinic and we're doing sort of the aesthetic stuff, we just wear,
Yes.
standard PPE when we're treating patients. So it's not too bad. It's taken a bit of getting used to.
Of
Um,
course.
but yeah, used to it now.
Yeah. So we're gonna start from the beginning.
Right.
I'm really excited for you. I know you've recently qualified as a doctor, so
Mm,
congratulations. Round of applause.
yeah,
Wow, I know the amount of training that you have to undertake to be a
yeah,
doctor. People
yeah.
have no idea, and you
It's a lot.
persevere.
It's a lot.
So what triggered you to be a doctor? What was someone in your family? Did you just want to look after people? Was you playing doctors and nurses as a youngster? What
No,
happened?
nothing like that at all, actually. I don't want to say I fell into it, but it sort of was just a natural evolution.
Okay.
So in school, when I was at school, I was quite interested in the sciences, but I wanted a job that was quite interpersonal, that would allow me to sort of interact with people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so, but also something that had career prospects as well, something that would enable me to sort of progress and grow. And I guess there was also the element of, as an 18-year-old, I had no idea. Do you know what I mean? Probably had no idea what the hell I was doing and what I really
Oh,
wanted to do with my life. And
wow.
then so I guess the idea of, going to med school sort of made sense. And then so I applied, got in, and then it took it
Wow.
from there.
That's amazing. From humble
Yeah,
beginnings, I saw that, and that's phenomenal. Everything is possible in this world. And,
100%.
you took this plunge and you've now a qualified doctor. Your parents must be so proud of you because it's such a
Um,
respectable
yeah,
profession. It really is.
yeah, yeah. Mum's definitely very proud. She definitely
Yeah.
tells a lot of people about what her children have achieved.
Of
Yeah, but
course.
yeah,
And so she
but that's
should,
right. Exactly, for sure. So I graduated in 2013. And
Okay.
then since then, I've been, it's a continuous um, training process. So you
Yes.
continue to train, you continue to sort of specialize or specialize. And then, yeah, so this year I fully completed training, got to like the staff grade, as the Americans call it, or the consultant grade, as we call
Right.
it here in England. And
Yeah.
yeah, finished. It's a nice
That's
feeling. It's a good
amazing.
feeling.
Oh, it must be. And yeah, it must be just like a relief, isn't it? And you knew you was going to do
Yeah.
it. I'm sure everyone had absolute faith in you. And you work tirelessly. And I'm sure there was moments where it was little bumps because it's a long process and you have to keep that momentum continuously. You can't slip, can you? You got to make sure you're maintaining all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's challenging. It definitely is challenging. And I guess I sort of had a few doubts, if you like, halfway through the training process
Mm,
about whether or not medicine was for me. And that's actually what got me into cosmetics. So it's
really?
interesting in that point of view about where the journey can take you. But I guess you just got to
Mm.
trust the process and just follow what is right for you.
And so from being the qualified doctor, what was the trigger for aesthetics? Obviously, it's a booming industry, but did you
Mm,
start liking the face and things that you can do and that you can actually help? That you're actually making someone feel amazing. You're helping people to love themselves, even though I'm not saying they didn't love themselves before, but
yeah.
there's areas of them they're not happy with. You're
Mm,
enabling to enhance that, and that's a beautiful thing because we do struggle
it
with
is.
things.
For sure, for sure. And I
Mm,
like to see it as, everybody, I mean, most people have things that they sort of dislike about themselves or that they wish they can perhaps I don't want to say change or improve.
yeah,
Um,
enhance.
and I think aesthetics is definitely something that can enable people to sort of feel better about themselves or gain a tiny bit more confidence. And yeah, it's a great specialty. It's a great booming industry, as you said already. And I think it's gonna it's gonna be a part of a lot of people's lives in the future. I
I think
think it's gonna
so
become
too.
I think it's gonna become the new normal, actually.
Mm.
But I essentially got into it because I was considering actually leaving medicine at one stage. And I was,
Really?
and that's when I took a break from training, and I thought,
Okay.
okay, what else can I do? What else can I sort of turn my hand towards? And yeah, I came across aesthetics at a conference that was called Medicine to Stay or to Go. And then yeah, so when I was there, I came across aesthetics. Seemed interesting. I went on like a
Mm.
training day. I really enjoyed the training. I happened to be quite good at it as well.
Mm.
And then it just took from there. Went from there.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously, you have to be so careful because you are dealing with it's non-invasive, but it still could change
Yeah.
somebody. I mean, obviously you train to do it, but what are the processes? Is there certain waivers they have to sign to say, you take responsibility for what I'm doing, I'm going to do the best, and I'll show you before and after. So, but everyone is different, and everyone takes different chemicals or changes.
Yeah.
What's
No,
the
I mean,
process when someone walks in?
the process is just really understanding the patient, really. I think that's the main thing. You need to understand the client, understand what it is that they want, understand what
Mm,
they're trying to achieve, and then you can really take
mm,
things from there.
mm,
And then, of course, you go through the standard consents. You explain to them the risks, the side effects of all the procedures, and then you work towards a sort of a tailored or a bespoke plan,
yeah.
and help them achieve what they want to achieve. Um,
No, I've seen
it's
your
it's
before and afters. It's amazing.
yeah.
Really
Yeah, I
subtle.
mean,
I like that.
subtle,
You're
that's the
subtle.
key.
Yeah,
Key. That is the
it's
key.
subtle.
Less is more, I think, is the key word there, or the key words.
Mm,
And you can really make discrete changes that actually have a huge impact on refreshing somebody's face, and that gives them so much more confidence. Um,
mm.
so it's a great specialty. It's a great specialty.
I can imagine. And is there a lower age limit? Because, I am conscious a lot of girls have grown up very quick now. I
Yeah.
remember being a youngster, and I was a youngster,
Mm.
had my hair in a pony, but now they're getting their nails done, extensions, they're doing it all. So do you have something where you go to them, look, just be mindful, you're going to change, you're going to evolve? Or do you just say, well, it's their decision? Is there an age limit that you can do and you can't do
Well,
others?
I mean, the legal age is 18. So 18, you
Oh,
can't.
okay.
Yeah, so 18 years old, you're considered an adult by
Yes.
law. You can consent for procedures, and it's that age that we would consider doing a treatment. Now, if
Mm,
you come through the door as an 18-year-old, you may also be sort of rejected, if you like. We may not do the treatment.
mm,
So that's the age that we would sort of cut people off. But 18-year-olds coming through the door, often, they don't need anything. There's no anti-aging sort of treatments that they would need. So those clients are usually the people that want to just enhance things like doing lip fillers and that sort of thing.
mhm.
But anti-aging,
Yeah, we'd
23,
hope not.
25, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
sort of minimum, really. Yeah.
yeah. And then obviously, I'm recognizing me. I'm a woman of color. Not all of us, but we have full lips a lot of the time. And I
Mm.
remember as a youngster, I was literally, mortified the fact that I had full lips. And then I
Yeah,
fast track
and now
2020,
it's the fashion.
2029. Is it fashion?
Now, of
It
course,
costs
everybody wants to do
money
that
to
now.
do this.
It costs money. It costs a lot of money as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it
that's
costs a lot of money.
amazing how body image has changed so much. And I think, what does it make you do? It makes you realize you just got to love whatever version of yourself you're loving, and that's it. Everyone's different. Everyone has different things about them. And I think the quirks in
Mm,
people are actually quite special.
of
But I
course.
find it very exciting that that's what's happened, So I'm like, oh, parts of me, how much would
It,
it cost?
it is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That now certain features are quite fashionable, but
Yeah.
things come in trends. At the moment, it seems to be lips. It seems to be sort of volume in certain areas,
Mm,
and maybe that won't be in trend in the future. But there's a lot of things that you can do with cosmetics these days,
mm,
that are fantastic at slowing down the aging process.
really?
And for sure, there's so many things. It's actually
So talk,
incredible how quick.
talk me through. Obviously, there's different age groups, different things will happen. So
Yeah.
I always believe subtlety is important. I think it's something nice when you don't know someone's had something, but they just look
Mm,
glow or they have. So what are
mm.
the things that women tend to or men come in for? What's one of the top three?
So women, I mean, the bread and butter of cosmetics is the
Yeah.
Botox and the fillers. That's the bread and butter. So yeah, people come in, wanting a sort of wrinkle treatment, which is Botox,
Mm,
or they want some filler treatment. Where I work, typically it tends to be lip filler, just because the social media that the company is run by is so great at showing images of the lips,
mhm,
and a lot of our clients are lip fillers, but we do lots of other treatments as well.
mm,
Um, but females tend to come in for more lip, sorry, not lip, so for anti-aging, so the Botox or some fillers in the cheeks or the tear trough area or the lips, and men are typically more masculinization treatments, so more jawline work. And we're seeing more influx of men these days coming in, and I think
interesting.
actually it's a growing trend amongst men now, actually, to start, having the filler treatments.
I think when you think of the beauty industry, it's $1 billion industry, and I think it typically was women doing everything. I've
Yeah,
got every makeup and product you can imagine. I'm always
yeah,
testing things, but I think men have become more aware and conscious of being groomed. Not that they're being different; they're just aware that they can actually look after the skin more. They can put a mask on, and
yeah.
the beauty industry is now catering products for them, whereas before, I'm sure someone might attest, your husband or your boyfriend will be going into your cabinet and taking your stuff. You're like, no,
Is that what it is?
now they've got their own stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what it
You
is. And
know,
do you know what I said to my friends, I say to people that ask me about the cosmetic industry and how is it changing. And I
yeah.
think in 5 years' time, I reckon your uncle, your brother, your guy friends, I think they're all going to be quite interested in cosmetics.
Mm,
I think it's just a change that's happening slowly.
mm.
And I think soon it will be just as normal to see an aesthetic doctor or an aesthetic physician, just as it is going to see, a hairdresser.
I think you're right. I think
I think so.
people, I think you're completely right. I think people, if you can do it, why not? If you
Yeah.
can make yourself feel and look better, why not?
Hmm.
You know, and
I
that's it,
mean,
really, isn't it?
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely lots of things that can help.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say you need to make sure you go to the right people, because whilst there's a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
that can help, there's a lot of people out there that will probably happily take your money and do treatments that you do not need. And that's the big risk. And I think, people are vulnerable, patients are vulnerable, clients are vulnerable when they're going to, an aesthetic doctor or anybody and saying, I want this treatment,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much money involved in this industry. Um, and, quite often people are treated and given things that they don't necessarily need. Um, and that's a shame, and that actually upsets me. But with the right treatments, yeah, it can work
Mm-hmm.
fantastically.
And I love
So yeah,
that. You said, I love that. Duty of care. And it's very
of
easy,
course,
isn't
of
it, as you
course,
said, for
and
people
that's when
to just go to the cinema.
yeah, and at that point, that's when the treatments, you can say, well, why not do something? Yeah, if you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling like there's something that can be improved,
Mm-hmm.
um, then why not?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I've I've just got a question, and it's speaking about
Mm,
Botox and
I see
fillers,
that as well.
and obviously the history. Do you think there's been
Mm,
enough research on these type of products to be used in the skin? And I'm always very conscious as well of things. We only have to look at the vaccine. We're worried about this COVID-19 vaccine because has it had enough? Has it gone through the
yeah,
cycle enough for us to take that in our body? Do you think there's
of
been
course.
enough? As you said, you spoke about the right people doing it. It's the recommendations, it's looking at the before and afters, it's actually doing your research before you even put something like that in your skin, I would say as
Mm,
well. But the
yeah,
research on the product, do you think over time, and I pray that doesn't happen, there could be some things that come up where actually I use Botox and now my skin doesn't look right? It's a big
mm,
ask, and not to say that you would know this answer, but maybe it circles around to what you was talking about, the right aesthetics doctor doing it and the
for
background.
sure.
Mm.
So, I mean, at the moment, there's a big boom in the cosmetic industry, and so
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing a lot of people taking interest into it at the moment. But
Yeah.
actually, if you look back in time, cosmetics has been going on for years. Botox has been around, since the 80s. It was
Mm.
first used, to treat people with spasms of the eye, and then
Mm-hmm.
doctors realized that actually that wrinkles started to fade away when they treated blepharospasms, which is when the eye muscle twitches. Um,
Okay.
and so yeah, it's relatively new in the sense that it's been around for what, 40 years or so, maybe longer. Some of the filler products, are quite new, but they go through robust
Yeah,
studies,
that's really good.
to make it sure that it's safe for use.
Mm,
So yeah, to reassure people, yeah, it's definitely
mm,
safe to use, and also in the quantities that we're using it. So Botox, whilst people, it's called a neurotoxin, but in the quantities that it's used, it's perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe to be used.
mm. I had one of the audience ask about how often should you do it to maintain a natural look. I, had a giggle with the Queen of Skin from Harley Street saying, "What was
Yeah,
your list of people who had to come and get it done after COVID-19?" And we had a giggle because
yeah,
obviously people were at home and sometimes it wore off. So obviously we have to make sure we don't overdo it, but what would you think? Or is it just everyone's individual, maybe, but
Of
what's
course.
your thoughts on that?
What is in like when you should get things retreated?
Yeah.
When you should have
So how
um,
often should you do it? Obviously over a period of time. Is it every 6 months? Or obviously I believe people's skin's different, but to not
hmm,
overdo it and to maintain that natural look.
hmm. Well, I mean, there's lots of different things you can get, so it depends on what treatment you're really
Mm,
going for.
mm,
But usually, so Botox, for example, it only really lasts about 3 to 5 months. So
okay.
people tend to come in for a retreatment when they start to notice that, they see the lines coming back.
Mm,
So typically it's a glance in the mirror or a glance in the reflection in a certain light or a certain angle that they will be like,
yeah.
oh wow, the lines are back. It's time to get a
Mm,
retreat. Um, but then fillers, again, it depends on what you're getting and where you're getting it. It tends to last
mm,
different amount of times. Um, so it's all individual. It's all dependent on what it is that your concerns are predominantly.
yeah.
Um, but as a ballpark figure, if you're getting Botox, it usually lasts about 3 to 5 months. And
Yeah.
fillers, typically about 9 months, 12 months.
Okay.
Um, so people tend to get it topped up or see a aesthetic doctor maybe every 6 months or every 12 months, I'd say.
That makes sense. Mm. And do you find you have a different treatment for different types of skin and different ethnicities? Do you find certain products or certain treatments work with some types of skin, or do you think it's across the board? You tend to have a very good number of different people from different ethnicities and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. There's different ethnicities come in all the time,
Mm,
and ask for similar treatments or different treatments. But there are
mm,
some treatments, for example, certain skin peels or laser treatments that you can't do on certain skin types.
mm,
So
mm,
yeah, those sort of more invasive skin treatments, they can
yeah.
be quite specific. But the
Mm,
fillers and the Botox and things, and non-invasive stuff, yeah, you can do it across all skin types, and
mm,
they all work equally well. I mean, some people tend to scar quite badly with like keloid
mm.
scarring,
Keep the
and
skin,
in
yeah.
those, yeah, and if you're thinking about surgery in those skin types, then you have to reconsider um, treating, or at least consider that in your treatment plan. But across the board, yeah, I mean, aesthetics is open to
Mm.
everyone.
Mm. I've got another question. It says, in
Yeah.
reference to the volume in the small quantities, is there still the case of multiple uses? Can the body metabolize, sorry, the continual use of over a long period of time? So basically what they're saying, is it going to maybe toxate your skin or your blood, or would it over time be too much for you? Or
And what is that in reference to? Is that in reference to the Botox?
it looks like
Um,
Botox or fillers, maybe volume in the small. I
yeah.
think it's Botox personally.
Either or, again, it's
Mm,
perfectly safe because your body metabolizes it. There's no sort of toxic byproducts.
mm,
Um, hyaluronic acid is naturally occurring in your body. So hyaluronic acid is filler. That's naturally occurring in your body. It's in your skin, it's in your eyes, it's in your joints,
uh-huh.
and it's a compound that adds structure to the tissues. And your body has enzymes that break that down. And this synthetic version that we use to treat patients is the same
Mm,
thing. It gets broken down as well. So
interesting.
it's there are side
Mm,
effects, there are risks, but in
mhm,
terms of the actual product being used and having a toxic effect on the skin,
mhm.
there's no there's no evidence of that coming out at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think everything in moderation with anything you do, isn't it? Anything you're going to use, whether it be a product that's going on top of your skin or a product that's going into inside your skin. I think you need to know your body or know your skin
For
and
sure,
kind of take
for
that
sure.
view, isn't it? Mm.
Of course, and it's our job as aesthetic doctors to make sure that you aren't going overboard and actually
Yeah,
just making sure that we curtail or we just say, "Do you know what, actually it's not needed right now,
yeah.
or there's no indication for doing what you're requesting.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
and that doesn't always happen, but most of the time, aesthetic
mm-hmm,
doctors do that.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be quite tricky because the patient,
Yeah,
doesn't want to hear that. They just
no.
they want something overdone, or sometimes
Mm,
we even get requests where people want an unnatural result, which is always quite interesting
yeah.
because
And I
they
think
get the
and I think you'll be respected and known for that, doctor, that has a
Mm,
balanced view. And I think it's important for, because what you
mm,
don't want is somebody does something and overdoes it. Because I do watch the programs like Botched, and you just think, oh my goodness, that's a
yeah,
lot of stuff.
yeah,
And then they come back to you and say, look what you've done to me. We don't want that. We want to
yeah.
know that you've done the best you could for them, you know, and they
Of
actually
course,
thank you.
of course. Well, I mean, also doctors don't want clients coming back saying, you know,
Yeah,
you've destroyed my face.
that's
And
right.
I always think when I have a new client that comes to the door, you know, they have put themselves forward, you know, saying that they trust you, you know, with their face, and it's their face, you know, this is the thing that people see first of all.
Hmm.
It's the
Hmm.
thing that we communicate with, it's the thing that we take pride in. And
Hmm.
so if they're trusting you with that, you know, that's a huge responsibility. And, you
Hmm.
know, I feel privileged that people come to me and ask for treatments, but also I make sure that I look after them for that main reason.
That's good. I had
Yeah.
somebody, a gentleman, which you answered, but do you have many male clients that come in? Because I think he's seen Crowfoot in his eyes, so
Yeah.
he wants to know whether
Oh,
you'll be
yeah.
able to help him.
Of course, of course. So crow's feet is easily treatable with men. Yeah, men do come through the doors, you know, requesting that treatment quite often.
Mm,
And as I said, I feel like in the future we're going to see a lot more men come through the doors. It's just that taboo, I guess, or just the changing in social dynamics, I think, at the moment. But in the future, yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot more men, and men are welcome. And the
thank you.
treatments do work fantastically well for men as well,
That's really good.
just as good as they do for women.
Hmm. I've got a question here about, it says micro needling versus Botox. What is micro needling? I don't even know what that is. Needling, I think
Yeah.
needling.
Yeah, so essentially it's a very, very fine needle,
Right.
multiple needles that are usually connected to like a pen, which you basically drive the needle in and out of the skin, creating
Hmm.
micro channels. And it's used to stimulate collagen because micro trauma can actually stimulate collagen production. And then if you have repeated treatments, you know, the production of collagen will slow down aging because it's the collagen that we lose from our skin over time that gives rise to the wrinkles and gives rise to, or the loss of collagen, sorry, that gives rise to the wrinkles and the thinning of the skin. So
Hmm.
microneedling, there's limited scientific evidence that
Yeah.
it works. Um, you need multiple treatments to have any effect. Again, there are risks, there are side effects if you go too deep. If you have multiple treatments in close succession, you can actually cause scarring, um, which obviously we don't want. And so it depends what it's being used for. I mean, the Botox is used
Mm.
to treat fine lines and wrinkles. So if you had a crow's feet, for example, definitely Botox is definitely the preferred treatment because
Mm.
you will get rid of those lines very quickly in a very short space of time with minimal downtime, minimal side effects. And it's usually a lot cheaper as well because you need multiple microneedling sessions to have the same effect that you do for Botox.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
Botox all the
well,
way,
yes,
quite
it
easily.
sounds like that's the best, definitely the best one. They've said, there's another question. What stage do you advise men to stop when it comes to skin bleaching or lightening? Yes, we are see things down here in South Africa, yeah. Well, that's another conversation altogether, isn't it? This is all about the body image
Mm,
in certain countries, and this is a lot to do with acceptance of the color of their skin, which is a crazy thing because if you think of how much people want to have a brown skin when they go in
yeah,
suntan, and then you've got
yeah.
a variant of people, and no judgment on them, who are darker that are bleaching their skin to feel accepted. So it's really sad that that's happening, and
Mm.
that's more of a mental and something they need to deal with their self-worth. So yeah, it's a difficult question and very difficult answer, I would say, isn't it? It's very difficult.
I mean, it's difficult in a
Mm.
sense that, I mean, because culturally, if you look at Asia, it's extremely popular over there, skin
Yes.
bleaching. I think if you
Caste
look at,
system. Hmm.
yeah, well, if you look at sort of populations and who are doing the most skin bleaching treatments, it's probably Asia.
Yes, you're
But
right.
over, and again, it's a cultural thing. And what's interesting about aesthetics, I would say, is that
Mm.
it's so subjective in the
Mm.
sense that what is right and what is wrong, what is too much, what's too little. And it's very difficult to say. If somebody came to me and said, I want cheeks, or I want fake lips, I can't say to them that that's wrong, because it's their
No.
opinion of what is attractive, it's their opinion of what is beauty.
Yeah.
Of course, we can start to identify body dysmorphia, and we can encourage them that actually, as you said, maybe they are overanalyzing things, maybe they're focusing on the wrong things, and it's not indicated. But it's very difficult to persuade somebody that if that's what they believe is correct. And actually, the challenge that we have in the UK is that there's no real, guidelines, or there's no real safety precautions that protect people like that. Anybody can get any treatment anywhere. Anybody can get multiple treatments of filler in the UK, for example. As you know, there are limited safety precautions that actually protect the patient. But yeah, going back to the question of when is it the right time to stop skin bleaching? I mean, that's a difficult question. I'd say it's important to understand why the person is doing it. It's important to consider the side effects of the skin bleaching, and I'm from the opinion that less is more, and that you should never take things to extreme. That comes with anything. So tough
No, I
one.
think you're right. It is individual to that person. And I think it is understanding why, and tackling that, hopefully, so they make the right
Yeah,
decisions, because it is really difficult when you do remove the dermis. In that sense, you're now very susceptible to the sun, which is another protection that you want to have for your skin. So I think all you can
yeah,
do as a doctor is give them them information and everything they need to make an informed decision.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then if they, as I said, considering side effects, if they're going to be causing themselves harm, then doctors won't be doing that. But usually these things can be done safely. And again, as it's a subjective thing, it's a hard one to tackle.
No, it is. I think it is. I think it's a case by case, isn't it? When someone
Of
does
course.
come with that conversation, I think you'd have to take a view and to give them the best information you can and hope that they understand and, show them love and make them feel good about themselves. I'm sure there's a part of you as a doctor that has a lot of empathy and actually
Yeah,
understand the reasons. And as you're doing it, let them feel safe.
for sure.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
somebody asked about 5 dots. Some treatment
Five
called
dots.
5
Let's look at
dots.
this. There
What
is a
is
kind of
that?
treatment for the face called it 5 dots. I've
Yeah.
never heard of the 5 dots
No,
and
I
what that
haven't
is.
either.
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, that's okay. I've never heard of it before, but so what else is between? I don't know, something between pro-helio and fillers, or is it the same
Profilo and
thing?
fillers.
Oh, so you would know.
Yeah, yeah. So Profilo. So Profilo essentially is aiming to improve the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles,
Okay.
and it basically hydrates the skin. So the Profilo manufacturers consider the molecule that they inject to be similar to fillers but different, in the sense that part of the molecule will migrate downwards into the deeper part of the skin called the dermis, and actually
Right.
stimulate collagen production. Whereas where part of the molecule will stay on the surface and actually help to hydrate the skin by attracting water. So it's definitely different to fillers in the sense that fillers are used to add volume, they're used to add structure. So Profilo would be, as I said before, would be used to mainly address any crepiness or fine lines and wrinkles within the skin. So again, it depends on what it is you're considering the treatment for, what it is that you're trying to achieve. And yeah, they are quite different, quite different.
Interesting. I've got a gentleman, looks like, or a lady maybe, my apologies, asking what medical school did you attend? I know, but you tell them.
Do you know? Yes, I went to King's College London. So I pretty much grew up in London, and then went to school in London, and then went to university in London. How? Yeah,
So you're a
so King's
Londoner
College
through and
London.
through.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And
Good
so what
school.
advice, after you,
Go on.
I
No,
was going to
yes,
say,
King's College.
So King's College, what was that? Must like a world-renowned college for medical. So
for sure.
what was like a typical day in when you were studying? Must have been. Was you having to work a lot with live patients? And I've been in the hospital and you've seen like students walk in, about 10 of them, because they're learning. Did you do stuff like that?
Yeah, it was quite strange. I mean, thinking back to it now, it's quite crazy. You know, how we to go about. You know, we basically went to the wards, and then we were the junior, not the junior doctor, so we were the medical student. And it's funny when you see a patient's face and you say, "I'm a medical student," they're just always so disappointed. they're never happy to see you. But yeah, we used to shadow on the wards essentially and learn as we went round in the ward rounds. But that was after third year, so. The first, second, and third years, you would be, you know, at university, on the campus, supposed to be at lectures, you know, listening in attentively, which obviously we were all doing, and yeah, then after then after third year, yeah, you tend to go off to the hospitals and learn through doing.
I've had someone said they're applying for King's College, so that's amazing.
Nice.
So
yeah, it's great. It's a great uni, and also it's a great campus as well. You have a lot of fun when you're there. Definitely.
That's amazing. And gentleman's asks, are men going for bleaching? Are they bleaching their skin?
To be honest with you, so at the clinic that I work at, we don't offer that treatment. There are definitely skin lightening treatments that you know, I know are available, but I've not seen a trend that seems to be favourable for men or women. Again, I think it's more of a cultural thing. I think if you look at, you know, the countries that are where bleaching is popular, I think just like with all aesthetics, it's most common at the moment amongst women. But then we might see a shift in that in time, as I said before.
Of course. Someone said hello from Indonesia, so we've got some great audience. That's fantastic. And then, so when it comes to what advice would you give for an up-and-coming medical student? Obviously, you did a switch, which is really interesting, and I love that honesty, because we all have our aspirations of what we want to do. Lawyers, architects, engineers, and sometimes as you're going through that process, you go, actually, I want to do this, but I want to do a shift. I want to go into a different style. So what advice would you give? Because that was honest for you to say that you kind of shifted into aesthetics and you really love that, and you had a moment that gave you that impetus to do that. But what would you say to them?
I think definitely do some deep thinking about yourself, and also where you see yourself in the future. You know, what do you want from life as a 30-year-old? And I know, you know, when I went to medicine, I was 18. It was difficult to consider life as a 30-year-old, because when you're that age, you know, you're you know, immortal almost. That's how you sort of view the world. But you know, speak to a lot of people, ask, you know, try and find doctors and ask them, you know, what the job's like, what are the struggles that they had, what are the things that they enjoy, is it what they expected going into it? I think these are important questions, because it will give you a real flavor for, you know, is it really something that you want to do? Back when I was applying, there was a lot of sort of kudos, if you like, or social status for being a doctor. But actually, the job is very, very hard. It's very, very hard. And sometimes the work-life balance can be a bit too much for people. More in favor of the, you know, or less in favor of the life, and more, you know, work. And some people don't like that. And, you know, it really is a calling for some people and they love it. Whereas some people, it's very, very challenging because it's so demanding. But at the same time, there's so many rewards that come from being a doctor. There's so much pleasure that you can gain from it, in treating people, helping people, looking after people. You know, you're dealing with people are coming to you being honest and open and vulnerable, and you have the opportunity to help them, and that's always, you know, you're providing a service to people. You know, and dealing with their most valuable asset. You know, that's definitely something that is, you know, a luxury in that sense. I
think so. You're right.
But it definitely does come with challenges and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I think people don't realise, especially as a doctor, there's a lot. You know, we see the casualty and we see obesity. That's one element. But when we look at actually the work that's going in, it's intense, and you're on call constantly, and you've got to make the right decisions. Make the right
Yeah,
decisions. A lot of personal liability or liability on you as someone
I
to make
know.
a decision.
I know that can be quite scary. If I think about it too
Yeah,
much, that actually kind of freaks me out a bit.
really.
The liability that,
Mm,
we're making decisions on a daily basis.
of course.
And these are life and death decisions. Obviously not in
Yeah,
aesthetics, but working in
of course.
hospitals and doing GP work, they're life and death decisions.
Yeah,
Um, in some cases, which is a huge responsibility.
it is.
But then you're trained to deal with that and trained to be able to manage that. So
And I think it's a
definitely,
beautiful thing. It's a
yeah,
beautiful
definitely
thing
if you're
you're doing. So
100%. Oh
after
yeah,
you.
it's a great job. It's a great job. But if you're considering medicine, it's definitely a great job. It
Mm,
comes with its challenges, as I said, and
mm.
just take your time. Just make sure it's the right thing for you. And if you
Mm.
decide that you don't like it, you can always switch. It's not a problem. Remember that.
No, it's true. I think some people might feel a lot of pressure, especially the young people coming up as well, that their
Yeah,
parents are being it and they pushing their children into being a doctor
mm,
because they was. But it's really
of
got to be an
course, of
individual
course,
decision, isn't it? It's got to be something you really want to do and love. Should
of
be your
course. But it's
passion.
hard. It's hard to remember that when you're 18 years old.
Yeah,
I think, and that's usually obviously when you're applying for medicine, isn't it?
mm. It's true. And you're more impressionable and you change, from what you was at 18 to what you were in your 30s is a
Exactly,
completely different person. You would have
exactly.
traveled the world and then you see things from a different light, don't you?
Exactly.
Mm,
And you know yourself better, you understand the world a bit better. Um,
mm,
and as you said, you grow, you develop, you change, your interests change. And
mm,
at that point, it might not be for you, but you definitely still have learned a significant amount along the way that is transferable. And that would definitely be useful for anything that you may decide to do in the future.
mm. And where do you see, obviously, aesthetics is a booming industry. Do you think there's
Yeah,
going to be other trends? You've got the lip trend. I mean, from the evasive, you've got the bum lift and
yeah,
is it the stomach tuck and all sorts of stuff happening. But the
yeah.
aesthetics industry, I think the Botox, everyone I know people take it, use it, great. But where do you think is, obviously you said you think it's going to be just a normal thing. You go to your dentist, you go to
Mm.
your doctor, you think that's kind of where it's heading.
I do think that's where it's heading, mainly because the treatments are so effective. And
Mm,
mainly because the technology that has now evolved and the techniques that have evolved are actually very, very good. So
yes.
I could do treatment on you, and my thing is, if I do treatment, I don't want any of your friends or your relatives or your family or people that to know that you've had a treatment. A good result for me is that people say, "Oh, you look fresh, you look well, like you look like you've been on holiday or you've had a good
Yeah,
night's sleep." That is a sign to me of a good result because we're
yeah,
keeping you looking like you, but you just look refreshed,
interesting.
or that touch more youthful. And it's
Mm,
now we can achieve that quite easily. Then, of course, you got the more invasive procedures, that come with a bit more downtime. You got the surgical procedures, and if we look at facelifts, for example, 20 years ago, the results were not so great. But now, you may not know that the person next to you has had a facelift, or a family
yeah,
member has had a facelift, and
yeah.
they look great. So there's a lot of advancements in the techniques and the treatments that are available. And with that, I think people are going to take advantage of that and actually, and if there's anything that they want to sort of improve, or if they want to slow down the aging process, they're going to, of
Mm,
course, take advantage of that.
mm. And the aesthetics, we're speaking about the face, but people do other parts non-invasive on parts of their body? Do they come in and say, "Oh, my hands," they want them to be fatter because as you get older, your skin obviously gets a bit more slimmer.
Yeah,
Do they
yeah.
do
So that's
things like
treatment.
that?
So people can have filler treatments in the
Mm.
hands.
Yeah, the
Um,
bones. Mm.
yeah, to help sort of soften the lines, or you can do skin rejuvenating treatments on the hands. Typically, people tend to go for the face or the décolletage area because those are the areas that are most visible. But there's so many options. The options and as I said, the techniques that are coming out these days and the treatment options available are just insane, and you can get some amazing results.
Mm.
Equally,
I
though, I would say that.
mm.
So go on.
No, after you, Richard.
I would say there are still some treatments out there that promise you a lot but don't do much. But on the whole, yeah, there are a lot of great treatments for sure.
Mm. No, I get from you a lot of passion and certainty about what you do, and that's really powerful. You know, listening to an aesthetics doctor, I hear
Mm,
that you will have empathy for your clients and you will walk them through what they're doing. You're not there just because you're doing a job. You're actually going one step further and want to know that they're happy, they're comfortable, and the work that you performed on them, you can go, right, they've gone to their family and someone didn't even notice. And if they did notice,
of
like,
course.
who did that? And then they go, well, Richard Devine. And
Of
then,
course.
because recommendation is everything in our industry, isn't it? People want to know
Mm,
that what that work was, I did it, and then I can perform the same thing on you and make you feel special.
mm.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool, yeah, these days, word of mouth, for sure. Um, and as I said, if somebody leaves the room, leaves the office feeling happy, feeling, like they've got a great result, they will speak highly of your name, and that definitely is powerful.
Mm. So what's the future? I know you was with Queen of Skin in Harley Street. Where
Yeah,
are you now? Whereabouts? Because I see you're everywhere. Do you travel
yeah.
to the different clinics, or are you based in
Yeah,
London?
so I currently work for a clinic called the Consultant Clinic.
Okay.
So so they have clinics internationally actually. So there's clinics in New York, LA.
Oh
They
wow.
plan to open one in Miami soon. There's clinics in Dubai, and then we've got clinics all over the UK. So London, Bristol, Birmingham, Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, all over the place.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so I tend my base is sort of London, but I do tend to sort of venture out and go say
Mm.
hi to the people up north from time to
Yeah.
time.
That's fun. So when they open the borders, because at the moment they've closed the borders to the
Mm,
States, which I'm very upset about because I have a lot of connections and I love
yeah,
traveling to America. So when they do, am I right in
yeah.
saying you're going to be in LA? It's big over there. It's
Uh,
huge.
I mean, it's definitely big. I'll definitely be over there on a holiday.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the moment, so the medical license that we get, so to become a practitioner, to become a doctor in UK, you have to pass, the board of exams, which the American um, body of so the American medics, if you like, they don't recognize that as a they only recognize their own medical degree essentially. So if I wanted to work over there, I'd have to do another exam and do their exams, which at the moment I can't really see myself doing.
Okay,
Um,
I understand.
so it's an option, it's a
Mm,
possibility one day, but right now, yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the UK, I think.
I understand. And be trained. Someone asked, is there a clinic in Cardiff?
I'm not sure. I don't think there is a clinic in Cardiff actually. No, I don't
Mm,
think there is.
okay. And
No, not
someone
with
says,
not
I'm from Brazil. Someone said they're from Brazil. I know aesthetics and
Brazil.
not invasive and non-invasive is huge in
Yeah, they
Brazil.
love it. Yeah, cosmetics is huge over there. They're actually sort
Mm,
of a pioneering country for medicine, even. Um,
true.
so yeah, Brazil's a
Mm.
great place.
Someone said Paris. So yeah. Is any clinics in Paris as well?
We do not currently have any clinics in Paris.
Okay.
No, not right now.
Okay. And
There's
someone
always
from
options there.
Panama. Someone from Panama. So we're really getting international
And lots of
exposure today.
international people, isn't
This is
it?
fantastic. Wonderful. So how can they connect with you, Richard? Obviously, I know you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all even the information you've given. People don't realize you've had a little consultation today. You shared your
Mm,
story and you've also given them an insight into
yeah,
non-invasive aesthetics. How can they connect
sure.
with you? What's the best medium? I see you on Instagram.
Yes, I'm on Instagram, so you can find me there on Dr. Divine,
That name
DOCTOR.
as
So
well is fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
really,
that's
it's perfect
it's
for
funny.
your career.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first started medicine, people heard that I was doing medicine and that my name was Dr.
Yeah.
Divine, and they they were like, "Are you serious? Are you really going around uni calling yourself Dr. Divine?" And I was like, "No, it's just a name.
That's the name.
Just came out like this."
Oh,
um, but yeah, so Instagram Dr. Divine, I jumped on the bandwagon quite late, so I missed the DR bit, and it's just a long doctor spelling. And then yeah, so they can contact the consultant clinic directly and
mhm.
find the website, theconsultantclinic.com, and they can book in a patient. They can book in there with me if they want a consultation.
That's wonderful. Someone just said Dr. Divine is incredible, being his client for a long time, a real gent and a pro.
Yeah, that's Claire. Hi, Claire. I
That's
hope you're doing
fantastic.
well.
Oh, and that speaks volumes, you know. I think it's so important because of the journey that you're taking with your clients. People
Mm,
trust you, they think you're amazing, and they'll keep coming back for more. That's how it works, isn't
of
it? So
course, of course,
you're
of
as good
course.
as your
Yeah,
clients, and yeah.
I
And
think
any
once
other
people,
plans after you, Richard? Sorry.
no, I think yeah, once people gain that trust and they know what you can do and they know that you're going to look after them, yeah, they tend to stay with you, which is nice. It's nice, and you can get to know them as well, and you can develop a relationship with them, which is also really
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, do you do online consultations at the clinic? Is it
Um, we don't do online consultations at the moment, just
okay?
because yeah, we're open, and
Cool.
there's Um, at the moment, with COVID, we haven't been restricted to just online consultations. But if they wanted to if they wanted to ask some questions and they were interested in coming for a consultation, they can always ask or send, message me, and I will happily reply, give them a
Mm-hmm.
bit of information.
Mm-hmm. Is there any projects or anything happening that you want to share with the audience? Anything else?
Any
Yours just
projects?
any projects or any new things or any things that are happening in the clinic that you want to share that they can get involved in?
Well, they are considering. Well, there may be news of a new clinic opening,
Oh,
one in the
wonderful.
UK and also one across the waters. But
Mm,
yeah, I don't think I can give away too much about that at the moment.
of course, of course.
But it's the
No.
clinic's actually growing, expanding quite quickly. So yeah,
Mm,
there's it's a great clinic to work for, to work at. Um, it's known, internationally, um, and respected highly. So I'm very fortunate to be there actually.
that's wonderful. No, it's been a pleasure having you on today. We had loads of questions. Some of the questions we wasn't able to answer all of them, but I'm sure if there's anything they want to ask, they can come to you. If there's
Yeah,
anything
for
we can help
sure.
them with, I hope after this they come and join. And all the gentlemen that are online, that there's anything you want to lift and tuck, he can help you out. Someone said, "How can
Absolutely.
we look like you?" How can they do
I mean,
that?
that's probably not too hard.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and it's so funny. No, it's been absolutely amazing. You're an amazing guy. I'm so proud of what you've achieved. Congratulations, because I said I know the work that goes into being a doctor, and
hmm,
we have nothing but salute, and we want to give awards to people like yourself because even in this time, you guys have been the ones that have keep continued working, looking after
yeah,
people. Making we can make a call and get looked after, and I don't think people no one's underestimated the work that's gone in this season. You guys are amazing. So continue doing the great
too
work.
kind. That's too kind, Renee. I appreciate that, and thank you so much
No,
for
you're
inviting
very
me to your
welcome.
show.
You're
You're
very
very good
welcome.
at doing this talk show thing. I think it's time that you think about having a show full time,
Oh, thank you.
perhaps
Well, you
on
never know
screen
what's
or on the
coming.
radio.
Yeah, you never know what's coming. I think, as I said, I thought about this in COVID and just thought, what can I do
Yeah.
to use my platform? So it kind of happened naturally, but I do enjoy
Hmm.
talking way too much is a problem. And just enjoy catching up and hearing stories like yourself. I think it's a natural thing and it's great to
Yeah,
share your story.
I
You know,
appreciate you having me. I
you're
think, yeah,
very
as you said,
welcome.
it's a great way to connect people, to I guess to showcase, yeah, what people are doing, what's
Yeah,
available,
definitely.
what is normal, if you like.
That's what it is. It's the opportunity for people to share their story and to be able to
Mm,
connect with others. It's really important at this time.
of
But I'm
course,
sure we'll keep in touch. I want to hear how things are going,
definitely,
and if you travel
definitely.
the world and become a aesthetics doctor somewhere else, let us know.
Yeah, I will do for sure, for sure.
Okay. You
And
take
yeah, hi
care.
to all your listeners as well, and all
Yeah. Thank you.
your followers.
Oh, thank
Um,
you so much for joining, guys. It's been great.
Definitely. And if they
Yeah,
ever have any questions for me, then yeah, they know where to find me. Just on
okay.
Instagram, message, and I will respond.
Definitely. And enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend ahead. And thanks again
I
for
need to
joining.
really.
Take care.
Thank
God
you so
bless
much for having
you.
me. Take
You're
care.
very
Bye.
welcome. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, honey.